You are considering switching from IELTS to CELPIP. You're probably making the right decision. A lot of people decide to do this, but you need to understand what CELPIP is all about and how it is different than IELTS. Let's cover every module, starting with listening. In IELTS, you have the questions in front of you. Even you have some preparation time. In CELPIP, you don't. You don't have the questions. The audio just starts playing, and then you get the questions. So when the audio plays, you have a pen and paper. You're supposed to take notes here, and based on the notes, you answer the questions that come up later. Obviously, the audios here are shorter than IELTS because you're taking notes and the questions are going to be appearing later on. Here you have 6 parts instead of the 4 parts like in IELTS. Also, there is one video component, which is essentially a listening task anyway, but you see people talking and interacting, and you get questions based on that. When we come to writing, once again, very similar to IELTS, you have 2 tasks here. However, here in task 1, it is not like the academic IELTS version, it is more like general IELTS, where you have an email. This is the letter version of IELTS. In CELPIP, it's called the email. It's supposed to be 150 to 200 words. Task 2 is an essay, very similar to IELTS, but this is where you are given an opinion and you have 2 options. You pick an option and you talk about that, and again, 150 to 200 words. So if you are not a fan of task 2 writing in IELTS, where you have a lot of words, in CELPIP, you have much lesser words. Also, in IELTS writing, a lot of people get stuck for a long time. In CELPIP writing, that's not the case. It's usually an easier module. The hardest module, though, according to many people, is either reading in CELPIP or speaking. Let's talk about reading. In IELTS, you have all these different types of questions, true and false, matching, fill in the gaps, and so on. In CELPIP, you have 4 parts of reading, but the question types are only 2. Most of them are the first type, which is multiple choice questions. So even if you're not sure about an answer, you don't need to fill a gap or anything. You can just guess, make it an educated guess, however. Now, the other type of question is in part 3. That is similar to matching paragraphs in IELTS. So this is where you have some paragraphs on one side of the screen and questions, which are sentences, on the right-hand side of the screen. You will see which sentence matches what paragraph, and that's it. That's 1 part out of 4 parts in reading that makes you do that. The other parts are just multiple choice questions. Now, when it comes to speaking, you don't have an examiner. So if you are a kind of person who gets nervous in front of people, this is probably the best case scenario for you. You talk to a computer. You have a microphone, you have 8 questions, you look at the prompts on your screen, and you answer those questions, record your answers. Each answer is like 60 to 90 seconds long, not more than 90. So when you're speaking, you would have prompts like talk to a friend, suggest them something, or this person has this difficult situation, you need to convince them with something. So you have prompts like these. You also have some picture questions where you have to describe pictures, predict what happens next in the picture, or even compare 2 different pictures with the points given. So it's fairly easy. The only difficulty here is there's nobody to stop you. Usually in IELTS, you have the examiner coming in, interrupting, and that can relax you, but that can also make you nervous because you're talking to a person. So it really depends on what kind of a person you are, what skills you have, because here you want to manage speaking continuously for 60 to 90 seconds per question. So that's a summary of what you need to know if you're switching from IELTS to CELPIP. If you have any questions, if you want to ask which exam is easier, or you're getting stuck with certain scores on IELTS or on CELPIP, and you're thinking if switching that module will help you, just comment down below and I'll be happy to answer your questions.